So let me
Um,
ask you on the topic of death, because I'm sure a lot of
mm,
people
yeah,
will contact someone like you, or I've heard
mm,
of pet psychics. Like my
sure.
first cat got loose after my mom passed away. We had a bunch of people in here at this house, and she got out and was gone for 10 days. And I remember one of my cousins contacting a pet psychic up in Vermont, which is where she lives. And the psychic said, she's in like a ravine somewhere. She's okay. Because who knows when a cat or a dog gets out or is lost in a neighborhood, you don't know if they've been hit by a vehicle, if they've been
Oh, sure.
eaten by an animal, another animal, or whatever. So you probably got in contact from people that, especially cats, because they're small and can't really always be seen. What how does that work when you're communicating with a live animal? I think you've told me sometimes you've contacted,
Oh, yeah.
animals that have passed. Is it a different experience?
It only in that the actual communication itself is the same. But what I found when they've passed, you get no sense of gender, no sense of species.
Hmm.
Uh, it's it's one spirit in particular. I felt like I was talking to God. It was just
Wow.
he was so knowledgeable, and there's a distance. There's not that warm, fuzzy, tangible energy that you feel with a living being. It's different. There's a distance. There's uh, I'm trying to think of the right word. They're just not really they're not close to you. They're talking to you, they're not talking down to you, but they're talking to you about what you need to know. They're only answering questions that they feel you need to understand.
Hmm.
So now they are the teacher. They are, and you kind of sit back and just gratefully accept whatever they want to give you.
Hmm.
It's a very different feel, but the actual communication process is the same.
That's got to be hard when I imagine you've had a client or two that has said, my cat got out a week ago. I don't know, where she is, and you communicate and realize that the cat has passed. I mean, how is that
Mm,
to broach that subject with
it's
humans?
very difficult. Fortunately, that has not happened many times,
But,
because, of course, the human's going to be upset. Um, so you just be as gentle and as kind as you can. And because I write all these things down, I avoid words, harsh words like died, dead, that kind of thing.
hmm,
I'll use past or transitioned, which is really actually transition is really much more accurate.
accurate. Hmm.
But to be comforting and tell someone some really difficult news, um, it's not something I enjoy doing. But I've had success. People have, you know, reacted well under the circumstances. But yeah, one case in I haven't. I, I had a situation where I spoke to. I thought I was reaching a dog that was alive, just lost. And as soon as I connected with him, I realized something was off, different. And then I realized, oh. And so I asked him, I said, are you still in form, or have you transitioned? And he said, no, I've transitioned. And so then we got into how it happened, which that in itself was very distressing. And on paper, I did not go into those details with the owner because it would have been too distressing. And but then when we talked later, bit by bit, I did explain those aspects of his passing. So, and she was very upset, but you know what? What was interesting is she said, it hurts me deeply to hear this, but she said, you know, it's what I thought. I had this feeling that something like that happened and that he really was dead. I just didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to accept it. And so she thanked me. She actually thanked me for being brave enough to tell her gently, but tell her the truth.
Yeah.
Because that others had not told her the truth. They just wanted to appease her and be kind to her. And she said that's not what she was after. So that worked out well, but I wouldn't want to do this if that's all I had to do.
Of course. But so I want to ask you, is it a different experience communicating with cats versus dogs versus gerbils? I mean, I don't know how many people have approached you, but the whole Dr. Dolittle, you know, idea, would you walk around and go, oh, there's a duck. Hey, Mr. Duck, you know.
Yeah, no, it's
like
more just personalities. Yeah, it's more just personalities come across. No, I can't say that. I haven't talked to a duck. I've talked to a vulture, lizards, lots of lizards, because I'm here in Florida, and cats, dogs, of course. I've never spoken to horses yet, so I'm looking forward to that. But so far, I would say that the different species can feel different. And that's kind of hard to explain. Between cats and dogs, I feel no difference. No. It could be, in fact, one time I was talking to in fact, I didn't know who I was talking to. For some reason, I wasn't aware, I wasn't given a gender of who I was trying to connect with, which is kind of unusual, but it doesn't matter. So when I connected, I thought, oh, you're a dog. But then the more we talked, this individual had such feline views, or, you know, what I consider feline, you know, attitudes. It was the attitude. And so I said, I have to ask you, are you a dog? And she said, yes. And I said, oh, okay. I just wanted to confirm. And she you know, she said, yeah, okay. Well, you know, because to them, gender isn't that big of a deal. They do perceive the differences in gender, you know, the tendencies, the attitudes, but it's not in the same way we do. And so we went on, and I still wasn't sure of myself. So I finally asked the person who, you know, who the human involved, and she said, yeah, it's a dog. And I said, but you know what? I had the strongest feeling that this was a cat I was talking to, even though I also had the strong feeling that the body was canine. And she said, yeah, I understand that. She said, for a dog, he's so feline in many of the things he in his attitude and stuff. So that's something I didn't know. So that was really confusing, but in a good way. You know, it was fun.
It's really
like
interesting. Yeah, because I would imagine dogs are pretty easy to communicate without communicating. You know, like dogs are very accessible. I find, like,
they are accessible.
You know, they're either loving or they're dealing with some sort of aggression issue. But cats can be much more furtive and hard to figure out. I mean, I know.
Well, again, it depends on the individual. It's all individual. Sure. I had a dog that just not too long ago who had lost his the other dog in the family with whom he was really close, very identified with. And when she died, he just wanted to die. He had no concept of his own being, of his own self-worth. He just thought he had to follow her. So he developed the same disease that she had.
Wow.
And so his humans came to me and saying, oh, this is what's, you know, he's beginning to fail now too, and we can't lose him. We just can't lose him. And so when I talked to him, I realized what was going on, and we over a series of conversations, I got it through to him that, you know, he can he can communicate with her in spirit, which he was doing. And she was saying, either come on, or I'm not going to come back and talk to you anymore. You know, it's either join me or, you know, that's it, I'm out of here. So, and he didn't want that. He was afraid of that. And so I explained, and finally he accepted that, yes, he could go on, live a vital life, because he was worth it. He had his own purpose for being in alive.
Wow. So you really made a difference. You got to communicate that with
Huge,
yeah.
huge. And in his case, so he went on to live for another, I don't know, 1 or 2 years, but then he began to fail again. And when he did, he said, no, it's time now. I really want to go. And his humans wanted to take him to the vet, and he was so resistant. He did not want to go to the vet. He just, so they thought it was for the typical reason why no one wants to go to the doctor, you know. They thought it was this, that. What it turns out to be is that he was afraid the vet would extend his life.
Oh, wow.
And that's why he didn't want to go. He wanted to die. So they did take him to the vet, and I think in the end they did help him pass. But once they understood that he didn't want to live anymore, he was done with this
yeah, they
life.
could make peace with it.
It put a whole different spin on their relationship at the end. Whole different. So, and it made it easier for them to accept his passing. So yeah, a lot of these things are very sensitive, I guess is what you'd say.
But I imagine they're gratifying for you, because you can intervene and make a difference. And tell me maybe 1 or 2 situations and clients that you've had where, like, that gave you a lot of humor or joy, or, you know, really kind of knocked you off your feet about something.
I've got 2 for you.
Okay.
In particular, they come to mind in particular. The funny one was, you know how we all love to pick up our cats, or a small dog too, you know. We love to pick them up and cuddle them, and, you know. Well, this one lady, one of the questions she had for her cat was, why don't you let me and my friends pick you up? You always are so resistant. Won't you please let us pick you up and love you? And when I got to that question, this cat, who she was a cat who is typical, knew her own mind, knew what she liked and disliked, and it was very clear. She made it very clear. So she said, there was a silence. When I first asked her the question, there was a silence, and I could feel energy building in her with this one question. And she said, tell my human that what would she do if someone walked in the door and picked her up off her feet, carried her into the house, and just started kissing and loving her? What would she do? How would she react? She said, I don't like that. She said, I like being in control of my body. I don't want anyone forcing me to be in a position that I don't feel safe in. And I certainly don't want affection from anybody I haven't bonded with. But it was so funny the way she said it. It was this long thing. She kept saying, you wouldn't like it. Why do you think I would like it? And it's so true, right? You know, if you see someone in the grocery store and they suddenly pick you up
and snuggle you,
you would go, eek.
Especially during a pandemic. Right. Social distancing.
No.
That's great.
And that was funny, but it was the way she said it. It was so emphatic and so like, you stupid. What do you think?
Right. What do you think? Didn't you have one case too where someone they thought the cat got out, and the cat was like hiding? was like,
That's right. Thank
you
you
know,
for
I'm
remembering
good. Leave
that
me
one.
alone. What
I
was?
got a call at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night
Uh-huh.
saying, you don't know me, but a friend recommended you and you got to help me. And it was one of those stormy, really lightning, thunder, and pouring down rain. And this lady was convinced, she and her husband were convinced that their cat got out. So I said, yeah, okay, don't worry. And she said, I'm going out now because we got flashlights. We're going to go out in the rain and we're going to look. Okay.
Sorry about that distraction.
Oh, that's okay. While they look, I got in contact with the cat, and the cat had this amused kind of funny attitude, like she wasn't taking anything seriously. And I had explained that her humans are so worried about her, and where are you? So she said, I'm here. And I said, well, okay, tell me, where's here? Are you inside a structure? And she said, yeah. And, but she was kind of doing it with
My house.
like a smirk, like,
Right.
And I said, well, did you have to go outdoors to get to the structure? And she said, no. And I said, okay. And I could only see black around this cat. I couldn't see any, I don't know. I'm not very visual, but somehow I got the feeling of the cat was in dark. So I keep asking questions, and she, in a bemused way, she's answering and humoring me. And she said, so finally I said, you are in the house. Are you upstairs or downstairs? She said, upstairs. And I said, show me, can you send me an image of something around you? She said, well, it's dark here, but I could send you an image, but you wouldn't see anything. I said, oh, okay. But it's dark in the room. She said, yes. So anyway, the people called me back. By now it's about 10 o'clock. And I said, she's in the house. You have to check again. She said, no. I'm telling you, we checked every inch. We looked in cabinets. We looked everywhere. We even looked in the oven. She said, in the refrigerator. She's not in the house. So I said, all I can tell you is that she's telling me she's in the house, she's upstairs, and she's in the dark. So she said, she kind of hung up frustrated. She was grateful, but like, okay, well, you didn't do me good.
Yeah,
So,
you didn't help us at all.
So about half an hour later, I get another call, and she says, oh, I'm so sorry. You were right. She's in a room that she's not supposed to be in. I never let her in that room. And when I opened the door to check, the light from the hallway shone in, but she said it was mostly dark. And I just, I just thought, no, she's not in here.
She couldn't be in there.
And yeah, she couldn't be in there. No, of course not.
The cats are like that. They can get into the tiniest spaces. I remember one Thanksgiving, we had a bunch of family over my parents' house, and my cat Slinky got, under the box spring of a mattress.
Oh yeah.
There's that sort of netting there, that kind of muslin that's there. She was able to somehow like find a little hole, and she got underneath it. And there were like 40 of us running around the house that Thanksgiving because we thought she got out. It was like Slinky, Slinky, Slinky. Her name was Slinky. We were running around the house, and my mom was like, we finally found, I saw a little bump on the bottom of the box spring, and my mom was like, she must be thinking, what is wrong with these stupid people? But calling my name, I'm sleeping, leave me alone.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly the attitude, like,
Right. It's great.
They're so funny.